What's up, my friends, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're talking about what I like to call the 4 pillars of wellness. So if you want to know what it takes to look holistically at your health, then keep on watching. Hello, my name is Christopher, or you can call me Kit. I'm here to help you take a holistic look at health and wellness, to discover the joy, or what I like to call as the joie de vivre, in the everyday living so that you can be your most radiant self. In today's video, we're going to take a look at what I call the 4 pillars of wellness. I used to be a lot like the rest of the world, thinking that health and wellness was really only focused on that physical aspect. You know, to me, wellness was a workout or maybe doing something like a juice cleanse. It was all very physical. Now, if you have been following me for a while, you will know that back in 2020, my 20-year marriage ended and we went our separate ways, and our divorce was finalized in early of 2021. The last 3 years of my marriage was very dark and chaotic, winding up with my ex, who was doing a lot of drugs and alcohol, eventually having to be put in rehab. All the issues I was having with my ex, it was a very dark period for me, and I was using food to kind of self-soothe. In order to support his sobriety journey, I also quit drinking. So I was kind of using food as like that comfort food. I was using food as like medicine to, instead of dealing with a lot of the like mental and emotional stress I was under at that time. Interesting, because all of the stress mentally and emotionally that I was under at the end of my marriage, again, I was comfort eating. I put on a lot of weight, and I felt very in this like dark and heavy place. The moment that we decided to separate, when we had the conversation that we were going to separate, I immediately felt lighter and freer, like even physically. I knew this was a time to be a beginning for me. I didn't look at it so much as the ending of my marriage, but instead I really looked at it as like the beginning of something else. The night that we had the conversation and decided to split, I moved into the guest room. While I was laying in bed that night, I really started to think about, what do I want to create out of this? What is my next experience going to be? You know, I'm looking at the end of my marriage, but I was really looking ahead to like, what is my future life going to look like? What do I want it to be? Who do I want to be? What do I want to create in my life? And I knew at that time that there was the physical part. You know, I had put on weight, so I knew I wanted to focus on losing weight. But I also really started thinking about the mental and emotional aspects of healing from all of this trauma that I was in, the darkness of our relationship, dealing with getting divorced, starting over. I knew that there was a lot of mental and emotional stuff within that I really need to focus on. It was at that point that I knew that in order to live a life that was truly balanced, there was going to be so much more than the physical aspect of health and wellness. I realized all the things that I was going to have to focus on for my own self-healing journey. And it really was like an aha moment of truly what health and wellness is and all that it encompasses. I realized that wellness is multidimensional, and that's when I came up with the idea of the wellness pillars. The wellness pillars are physical wellness, mental, emotional, and spiritual wellness. When all 4 of those pillars are balanced, we can truly have a life that is joyful, that we are in a very happy and peaceful place, and we can become our most radiant selves. For instance, at the end of my divorce, I knew right away, because I was in such a dark and depressed state, that in order for me to really heal and to move forward in the life that I wanted to create, I was gonna have to get my head in the right place. So I pushed off focusing on the physical part. I did work out, focus on some nutritional stuff, but I really spent the first year to 2 years focusing on that mental and emotional wellness pillars, because I knew I had to have my head in the right space to really be able to move forward. In this video, we're going to talk about each of the 4 wellness pillars. I'm going to give you a quick little overview of them. The reason that I wanted to share this content is because this is really kind of the direction that I want to take all of my content. I have my other channel, Radiant You Pilates, which is linked below. That focuses more on the physical wellness pillar, as we're focusing a little bit in that channel on yoga, Pilates, other fitness modalities, nutrition, This channel is going to be a little bit more focused on the mental and emotional and some of that spiritual wellness. So first, let's talk about the physical wellness pillar. I think a huge part of our healing journey is how we relate to our bodies. As a movement teacher, because I teach yoga, Pilates, spin, TRX, bar, a bunch of other stuff. As a movement teacher, movement and how we move our bodies, how we take care of our bodies is something that is very important to me. And I think that it is a huge part of healing. It's a huge part of our self-love journey. How we treat our bodies, the things we do to our bodies, any kind of self-talk that we have in regards to our bodies. Those are a huge part of that physical wellness pillar. Now, I mentioned previously in other videos, especially if you've been following me for a while, that I struggled with disordered eating for a very long time. You know, I was able to come out of that, and now I really use food as a source of nourishment for my body. I focus on moving my body to celebrate all that it can do, not for punishing and for something that I ate. The physical wellness pillar is really to help you focus on how to love and celebrate your body. You learn to stop punishing yourself and to love your body as it is. It also helps you stop that negative self-talk so you can truly find some self-love. Through that self-love, build better self-confidence. The physical wellness pillar also teaches you that you can be both a work of art and a work in progress. We can love the body that we're in, but still wish to improve it. The idea is that we're not striving to improve ourselves because of societal expectations. You know, we're not trying to fit into a certain size because we want to wear Lululemon. We're not trying to fit into a certain size or look a certain way because that's what we see in magazines. We're not trying to live up to some unrealistic expectation from society of what our bodies should look like. We can love our bodies as they are, but we can still work on trying to improve them. All right, so let's talk about those mental and emotional wellness pillars. For the mental wellness pillar, and there's some gray area between the mental and emotional pillar, but our thoughts become our actions and our words become our deeds. There's many studies out there that have shown that we tend to really believe the voices in our own head as opposed to something that we may hear from somebody else. You know how it goes. Someone pays you a compliment and you kind of brush it off and you're like, gee, thanks, whatever. And you don't really necessarily believe that or feel uncomfortable accepting that. But when we do that negative self-talk in our head, those are the voices that we really listen to, right? So someone may be like, wow, you look like you lost weight or you look really good. But in our mind, we're telling ourselves like, oh, you're a fat cow, you ate too much, you need to lose weight. Which one are we gonna believe? The person from the outside that's giving us a compliment or these like evil, dark voices we have in our head? It's also kind of like when you are getting a, like say a review at work or you're meeting or having a one-on-one with a person, a coworker, a supervisor, and they give you all this glowing feedback, but then they give you that one thing that maybe you need to work on. What do we dwell on? Not all the positive things they just said about us. We dwell on that one thing that they said is an area of opportunity for us. It's because our minds focus on the negative and we allow that negative self-talk to go on an endless loop, and eventually we start to believe that. Mental wellness truly influences our thoughts and our actions. Mental wellness relates to how we process information, what we store in our memory, how we understand this information, how we manage stress, and how we make choices that define our actions, and also how we relate to others. So the mental wellness pillar is to help you learn to stop the negative self-talk, learn how to better process and understand information that your mind receives. It helps you to improve your decision-making process and how we react to things. I like to say we can't really choose what happens to us, the things that we receive in our life. We don't have power over that. What we do have power over is how we react to those things. The mental wellness pillar will also help how you relate to other people, how you better manage stress. It'll help you to view life with a sense of balance, to be able to really know, yes, there is some good stuff and there's also some bad stuff, but really, how are you going to deal with that? How are you going to process that and find balance? We can't just dwell on all the bad stuff all the time. The mental wellness pillar will also help you to look at those areas of opportunity as opportunities for growth or change. And it'll really help you to stand up for what you believe in and what your values are. And that also is helping to build on that self-confidence. Now, for the emotional wellness pillar, again, like I said, mental and emotional, they're very similar, but they're also very different. Some of the things that we do, how we process information, ties into both of our, our mental capabilities and our emotional capabilities. I think the big difference here is that anything with mental wellness is going to relate to our brain, how we think, receive, store, and interpret information. Whereas emotional wellness is going to relate to what I think of as like heart-centered. Our awareness of our emotions, our ability to manage and appropriately express our emotions and ourselves. Like I said, mental wellness is a little bit brain-centered. Emotional wellness is a little bit heart-centered. The emotional wellness pillar is to help you truly become better aware of your emotions. It helps you accept and honor your feelings. It helps you to learn to be resilient in the face of adversity. It helps you learn how to express gratitude daily. It can also help you feel like your life has purpose, and it can help you to avoid dwelling on any negative thoughts or emotions that we experience in our life. Okay, and last but certainly not least is that spiritual wellness pillar. I think this is probably the hardest one for people on their healing journey to learn how to navigate. To me, when I think about spiritual wellness, it's a connection to something that's greater than ourselves. Whatever your beliefs are, whether that's in God, Buddha, whatever your emotional, spiritual beliefs are, whatever you are tied to, it's about being connected to something greater than ourselves, even if that's the universe, source, whatever you choose to call it. I also think that spiritual wellness includes your morals, your beliefs, and your values. It really helps you to feel like your life has purpose and you're allowing your life to be guided by your principles and that sense of spirituality and connection to something greater than you. I grew up Catholic, and when I came to terms with my sexuality, I felt very not accepted in the church. The more that I became aware that I was gay, the more that I realized I wasn't accepted in the church. So I went away from God for a very long time. When I got my divorce, literally one of the very first things that I did was to seek out God. I prayed to him on the very first night that I was by myself. I asked for guidance. I very shortly decided that I was going to look into finding a church or some kind of religious community that I felt I could be accepted of and accepted in and I can be a part of. And I also knew that the next partnership, the next relationship that I wanted to be and had to be with somebody who believed in God, who was a Christian. Truly opening myself up to God and making that connection to God again made me feel that I had purpose, that I was going to be okay. And I knew I was going to be part of something that was much bigger than myself. I now know that God led me out of a very toxic relationship with a narcissist into a place where I can have a very loving relationship with him. And being connected to God has put me in connection to other people that are very healthy relationships. And I've been able to have deeper connections with people than I ever did. So the spiritual wellness pillar is to help you to connect to something greater than yourself. Learn to have a better relationship with people and the world around you. Learn to live your life guided by your morals, values, and principles. And how to have a better relationship with your true self, your authentic self, your soul. And it'll help you learn to practice greater kindness and acceptance to those that you come in contact with in your everyday life. Not just the others that you meet, but it'll help you connect to and find a greater sense of kindness and love and acceptance for yourself. I hope this video gives you a better kind of idea of what I look at and how I view health and wellness, and how I think that you really have to look at health and wellness holistically, including all 4 of these pillars. Then again, I wanted to do a quick little video on this because this channel is specifically going to focus on tools and resources and things that you can do to really balance out that mental, emotional, and spiritual wellness pillars. So thank you so much for watching. Again, if you guys have any comments, drop them below. I love talking to you guys in the comments. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that red subscribe button and show me some love on this video by giving me a thumbs up down below. Until next time, stay well and stay fabulous. Bye.